KKR, along with NVIDIA, Vistra, and the Kuwait Investment Authority, they're launching a new company. They're calling it Helix Digital Infrastructure, a one-stop shop for building out AI infrastructure needs. And joining us now to discuss is the new CEO of this company and a former AWS CEO, Adam Selipsky, along with Waldemar Slezak, KKR's global head of digital infrastructure. Guys, thanks for bearing with me here. I know I'm in San Francisco. You're there on the floor. Adam, let me start with you. What problem is it that you are trying to solve here with Helix?
Well, it's so great to be here with all of you guys. Thank you so much. I could not be more excited. AI and the cloud are driving the infrastructure build-out of a generation. We're talking the railroads, the U.S. highway system, the internet itself. The problem is the scale and the pace of that build-out has created a fundamental industry bottleneck at the layer of the physical infrastructure. We're talking the data centers, the power, the connectivity needed to enable all of that innovation. So we formed Helix to smash that bottleneck and to enable all of the benefits of AI to come more quickly for governments, for enterprises, for startups, for citizens worldwide. And Helix is different because it is going to coordinate all of those difficult pieces of infrastructure. It's going to be run as a company by a group of seasoned operators, and it's backed by scaled and truly reliable capital, which is really important in this environment where there's a lot of announcements which don't always deliver.
Now, the one thing, just from the point of view, and there's nobody like you, Adam. I don't mean to slight everybody else that's involved, but I do want to know why you're bringing in NVIDIA. Why do you need Vistra? Why do you need the Kuwait Investment Authority? Because that seems like a disparate group, a kind of a disparate coalition, so to speak.
Well, these partnerships are really important, and I talked about coordinating and integrating all of this. And power, is part of the fundamental bottleneck today. And to have Vistra as one of the leading power producers in the U.S., about 50 gigawatts of capacity, being able to partner with them tightly, both on existing power as well as new sources of power, is incredibly important. NVIDIA, and I've had the privilege of working with NVIDIA for many, many years, that operational partnership of being able to coordinate technical roadmaps, of their being able to help us understand how to build more quickly, how to build more efficiently, our being able to help them with their roadmaps, I hope, as well. These are really going to be tight operational partnerships, and I think are going to set us apart.
Let me follow up with you as well, Waldemar, in terms of on the financial side of this. $10 billion initially, but it's structured, I think, as an evergreen fund, and I am curious about that. Potentially you're going to have quarterly raises in perpetuity rather than sort of one traditional fixed life vehicle. Why make that decision? Why is that important to the overall structure of the company?
Well, thank you for asking that question, and thanks for having us. I think it is really important to have the right depth and patience of capital. And so when we think about the scale of the opportunity at KKR, certainly this is a multi-decade, multi-trillion dollar, I think global reshaping of the global economy as we see it. And so we really wanted to make the point that Adam alluded to, which is really bringing the operational capability that Adam and the team will bring, our strategic partners, and then marrying that with really long-dated patient capital at scale. I think that is a true differentiation, being a permanent owner of assets, owner, acquirer, and operator of assets across the whole ecosystem is really important. And I think we all see the scale of the build-out. It's a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity, and just earlier you talked about some of the CapEx numbers, and I think it's going to require a whole village to really help build this out.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not as though KKR doesn't have a significant amount of money already invested in infrastructure or, in digital and power. I'm just curious as to why you thought it was best to sort of form a separate company rather than just deploy that capital through your existing structures.
You are absolutely right. We have been one of the leading infrastructure investors for almost 20 years, really based on three sort of core principles: thematic, patient, and discipline. Our digital infrastructure franchise and power is, we've invested over $70 billion of equity. We're one of the largest owners of data centers in the world. And we still see a tremendous opportunity. And we think that, evolution is important in this ecosystem. So, there's a saying that if you don't like evolution, you like obsolescence even less. And I think that's what we're trying to pursue here. And being able to partner with Adam, as Jim mentioned, an incredible, capable operator who helped scale AWS into one of the leading cloud operators, is a different way of looking at this problem and attacking it from an operator perspective, marrying it with capital.
I absolutely love the way you're doing it, because I felt that it does take a bit of a coalition. These are very hard to do, Voldemar. Do you envision yourself as kind of like a data center light model, like we see from Blackstone, where they've got terrific people, but they're not the guys who are getting their hands dirty, they're the guys who are actually running the operation? Could that be you?
I think I can show you the calluses from actually getting our hands dirty. We have a lot of capability in this. We've been doing this before AI, and I think we'll do it. After the evolution of AI, AI will eventually be called just computing. And so I think we really want to get our hands dirty. I think we would be building, operating, designing this. You mentioned earlier, seeing how many of these data centers are being built on budget. I think we have the track record to show you that we can actually do this.
I like that, David.
Yeah, Adam, but it's not like Microsoft or Alphabet or Oracle. I don't know. Do they need help? It's not, I'm just curious. Can you take me through here how you're actually going to make money and who the clients ultimately are of this business?
Oh, the clients are the hyperscalers. So exactly those types of companies you just mentioned. And I think there's a misnomer that they've got all these capabilities, they've been doing this for a long time, and so these projects just come together, and the power's there, and the connectivity's there, and the data center's there, and somebody brings them a neat project, or they just do it all in-house themselves, and they move on to the next one. I'm here to tell you that is not true, and I know that from the inside of building over $100 billion per year business, which relies fundamentally on this infrastructure. There's all the old jokes about two folks and a pickup truck in Texas, and they've got a great deal, but they golf with the governor's brother-in-law, so don't worry about the permits. And these are real stories. This actually happens. It is hard, and it has become even harder with AI and the pace of the build-outs and the scale of the build-outs. And they absolutely have a lot of capabilities to do a lot of these things in-house, and they absolutely need reliable partners who can bring them scaled projects that are going to deliver. Over 25% of data center projects which are announced now are not actually delivering, and that number seems to be increasing. There's no reliability in this, and that's why working with KKR as the platform behind this, and with the seasoned team of operators that I'm in the middle of hiring, we aim to actually deliver for hyperscalers.
All right, what is the number one gating issue right now? You hear it's power. Obviously notable that Vistra is one of the partners here. Is that a fair assumption?
I think there are a couple of things. I think power is absolutely at the center of the current bottleneck. And as you said, that's exactly why we're so delighted to be partnering with Vistra, who really is one of the leading and largest and most scaled operators. I think other bottlenecks will emerge over time, though. This is one of those fast motion movies unfolding in real time. And I think you may see it in different parts of the connectivity, the power, the data center, the building, the operating. And Helix is really going to have a model of, we will work backwards from our customers. We will understand what hyperscalers need, and we will go build or acquire or partner for any capabilities they need, so that we are the very best partner and the very best counterparty that they have on planet Earth.